If this life hasn't given you everything you thought it might, come on in, you're in the right place tonight.
Hello and welcome to Kate's Kitchen. It's been a while since I've seen y'all. I've been busy traveling with work and just all different kinds of things, but I'm back. And today we are going to talk about how to tweak virtually any recipe to make it food lovers friendly. So come on in and let's get started. I've lost 35 pounds doing the Food Lovers Fat Loss System, and I've also been able to keep it off for several months, even during my most busy traveling time. That's wonderful. I'm going to continue to lose weight and eat the proper way. I've changed my lifestyle for the good forever. And one of the things I like to do is tweak recipes, my favorite recipes and some of my favorite foods and easy dishes, into something that is more food lover friendly. So today what I wanted to start with is one of my favorite easy breakfasts is Jimmy Dean, the turkey sausage bowls. It's got egg whites, potatoes, turkey sausage, and cheese. A very easy recipe to tweak. And the reason I want to tweak it is there's 720 milligrams of sodium in here, and there's all different kinds of preservatives. So if I can cut that back and make something a little more natural, taste better and better for me, and yet not have quite as much fat, that's what I'm looking to do. One of the things I do, I keep handy on my refrigerator door this handy chart that tells you the nutritional breakdown of what a fat loss plate should look like. And it's in your book. What you're trying to do for women is have 15 to 30 grams of protein and between 30 and 45 grams of carbohydrate, while having between 20 and 30% or less of fat to total calories. And that's also including less than 700 milligrams of sodium in a fat loss plate. The first thing I do is I put my recipe into an online recipe calculator. There is one on the Food Lovers Fat Loss System if you buy their weekly program. You can also Google recipe calculator and find several different ones. I love the one that Food Lovers has. It breaks it down into fast carb, slow carb, and protein. So you're always sure that you're right within the proper ranges and not have to necessarily pull out your folder. But you can do it either way. And I'm going to make my own turkey sausage because homemade turkey sausage is so much better for you than the kind that you buy that's already pre-made. It doesn't have any preservatives in it, and it has so much more flavor. It's better for you. So in order to make the homemade turkey sausage, I'm going to take a pound of the 93% lean fresh ground turkey and put it in my mixing bowl. And then I'm going to make this ahead, sometimes a day, sometimes 2 to 3 days. The longer that you let it sit, the more flavorful it becomes. I'm using 1 tablespoon of fennel seed. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of ground sage. And you can use fresh herbs if you want. I like to use fresh herbs whenever I have them in season, but the dried herbs work really well for this recipe. This is a tablespoon of the ground thyme. I'm going to use just a couple of sprinkles of ground cayenne pepper. And I'm going to use just a couple of sprinkles of the garlic powder, not the garlic salt. We don't want to add any salt to this because there's already some sodium in the turkey itself, and we're going to be adding salsa later, so I don't want to add too much sodium to this, or any sodium to this at all. A little bit of ground black pepper. Mix those spices together, and then just sprinkle them on the pound of meat and just mix them all together until they're incorporated. Then I'll seal this in a Ziploc bag, and like I said, I won't do anything with it until tomorrow or maybe a couple days from now. One of the best things about making turkey sausage or any kind of sausage at home is you can season it however you want, whatever your taste buds feel like. I like more fennel in mine. To me, that gives it the sausage taste, but if you don't like fennel, just put a little bit less in. Same thing with the thyme. You can use fresh rosemary. I love the fragrance of fresh rosemary. It helps to permeate throughout. Gives it great flavor, and again, you can cut down on using the salt when you have great flavors. The other ingredient that we have is white potatoes, so I'm using Yukon Gold. I wash them well so that I can use them skin on. I like them better that way, and that's where all the nutrients are. I'm just going to do about a ½ inch little dice, make them into bite-sized pieces, and we're just going to boil them until they're almost ready to go. I'm making 6 individual breakfast bowls, so 6 servings. I'm using 4 of the medium-sized potatoes. I used 1 pound of the turkey sausage that I made, and if you don't like ground turkey, you can use ground pork and then season it yourself. You're still going to have a better homemade sausage than if you buy it already pre-made. Just again, you can control the seasoning and you don't have all the preservatives in it. For the eggs, I'm just using egg beaters, and I'm doing enough for 5 servings because I'm going to be adding in the turkey and I want the right portion of protein, and I've already used my calculator so I know that this is the right amount. I'm just going to make scrambled eggs out of them. Hit that with a little bit of cracked black pepper. I used a little bit of Smart Balance in a non-stick pan. That way you don't need to add a lot of extra fat into the scrambled eggs. And now that my turkey sausage is cooled a little bit, I'm just going to divide this into 6 of my reheatable Ziploc bowls, putting the same amount, or roughly the same amount, into each one. And I do the same thing with the scrambled eggs that I've got that have cooled down a little bit. And now I'm going to add the potato. Again, just putting about an equal amount in each one. I've kept the skin on again to get that extra nutrients. And last but not least, I'm going to use some sharp cheddar, reduced fat, 2% milk. I'm going to use about a little under an ounce each and sprinkle a little bit on top. And that will complete my turkey breakfast bowl. They're going to take up a little bit less room in my freezer, and I can pop them in the microwave just like I would my Jimmy Dean prepackaged stuff. Makes it very fast to have a nice, good, hearty breakfast. After you enter your food into the recipe calculator, you hit calculate info. That's going to be based on the number of servings that you put in, and I put in for 6 servings. I want to compare that side by side with my original recipe and just make sure that I did do as well as I thought I did. So we've got 240 calories for the old Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage bowl and 294. Yes, the calories are higher, but it doesn't matter because it's still well within the range of a fat loss plate. As far as total fat, even though they've got lower calories, they've got 8 grams of fat, which is 80 calories from fat, and we've got 7 grams of fat. More importantly, 2.7 grams of saturated fat, while they've got 3.5 grams. Saturated fat is the bad fat that you want to cut down on, so we did that successfully. Sodium, another bad for your heart, bad for your health if you have too much. 720 is a little bit high. We were able to cut that in half to 350 milligrams of sodium per bowl. And then carbohydrates, they gave us 18 grams of potato. We gave 26 grams of the potato. And then our protein is higher. We've got 30 grams of protein where they've got 22. Not to mention that we don't have all of this maltodextrin and carganine and guar gum and xanthan gum and all these other chemicals that they've added to preserve this. We've also got a higher nutrient count. Our vitamin A, for example, they've got 4% and we've got 20%. So it tastes better, it's healthier for us. Not only that, it costs less. $2.99 per breakfast bowl for the turkey sausage that Jimmy Dean makes, $2.19 per breakfast bowl that I made just now. That's 80 cents different. If you make that every day for breakfast, which I pretty much do, sometimes I change it up, but say I had that 300 days out of a year, that's almost $300 savings that you can use to help your pantry get more spices and different things like that. So now that you've got yourself a good recipe calculator, bookmark it and save it to your favorites. The internet is my favorite place because I love Google, and any recipe that I want to find, you can find on there. You can tweak any recipe that you can find, you can tweak those family favorites. Like last week when I made my stuffing for Thanksgiving, I used homemade turkey sausage and cut down on a lot of the fat that I used to put into my stuffing, and it still tasted great. People were fighting over it. Another great thing that you can use to substitute in recipes, chia seeds. I'm going to teach you how to make chia gel, and Google chia seeds and read about the health benefits. There are so many health benefits to chia seeds. So in order to make chia gel, I'm going to use a container that I have a top for. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of chia seeds and 1 cup of water. It takes 2 minutes to make this gel, and it can stay in your refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. Some people say 3 weeks. I go 2 weeks, and then you're just perfectly safe. But what you do is you put the lid on and you give it a good shake. Making chia gel is really that simple. And then you keep this sucker in the refrigerator and you use it just like you would oil or butter or eggs. You use a 1/4 cup of chia gel for 1 egg in a recipe, and I would use it for all the eggs. You don't have to put any eggs in there if you don't want to. When it comes to butter and oil, chia gel will take on the flavor of the butter and oil. Thereby, you can reduce the amount that you need by half. So you use half butter, half chia gel, half oil, half chia gel, and it works great in your baking and any recipe that calls for butter or oil or eggs, and it is the most wonderful substitute. Another great thing that can go as a substitute is coconut oil. It sounds like it would taste like coconut, but it really doesn't, and you can substitute it straight up for oil in any recipe that you've got. Applesauce. Unsweetened natural applesauce works great. I get it in the little small containers so that I can keep it in my pantry and not have to worry about it going bad, because as a single person I don't use a whole lot of applesauce. I can keep it in my pantry and not in my refrigerator, and I don't have to worry about it going bad. So applesauce works well in place of oil and in place of butter in baking, especially good in things like oatmeal cookies or banana bread, pumpkin bread, anything where you want some moistness but you don't want to add in the extra fat from the oil. So there's some tips. Another good substitution I like in my recipes, instead of sour cream, I use faya. It is 0% fat Greek yogurt. It tastes just like the sour cream, but it has 0 fat. When you have low-fat sour cream, it tends to be thin and runny. This is nice and thick and creamy, and it goes great in the recipe as a 1-for-1 trade. Here's a quick screenshot of my Pinterest page and all the different food lover type recipes, and here's a good one, 80 healthy recipe substitutions. You can Google that and then save it to your Pinterest page, or just help save it, bookmark it as a favorite website. But for baking, it tells you can substitute black beans if you're making brownies, just all different kinds of things that you wouldn't even think of substituting in order to make a recipe a little bit lighter in fat and total calories. So there you have it. You can tweak any of your favorite recipes, and you can go online and find all different kinds of recipes that you can tweak. It just takes a little bit of guesstimating to start with until you start getting used to it, and put it in your recipe calculator and save it for a rainy day. I thank you again. This has been another fun episode of Kate's Kitchen. Come on back next time and we'll see what's cooking.